Yo, yo, RX back with another recap of UFC 330, Makhachev versus Machado Gary. We back with another recap of a card I was harsh on all week, but did it prove me wrong? Not really. It was better than I thought it would be, but not by much, and that ain't saying much when I talked about this card being the worst pay-per-view of all time on paper, so, you know, it wasn't an execution, but still doesn't mean it was good. It was still barely a 5 out of 10, if it even is, and, yeah, definitely the first bad card in a while, so it was not good on paper, and it's barely better in execution. Can't really say I'm shocked. A few good things on it, but a lot of it was very bad, and what really needs to be said there. So pretty simple. We got 12 fights to recap, so like, comment, and subscribe. Now let's recap some fights, shall we? Not wasting time anymore on this bullshit. So let's do it. Beginning with the opening 5 of the night, the same 12 fights we had in the breakdown, because everyone made weight, thankfully, so nothing changed. As we had in our opening 5 of the night in the welterweight division, we had to open UFC 330 with one of the two Philadelphia natives. We had Jeremiah Wells versus Miktabek Orolbai. What a goddamn upset. I did say Orolbai should not be that big of a favorite, and he got caught. Obviously, in the first 2 rounds, Orolbai dominated, up 2-0 on every scorecard you'll find. He just, again, dominated. Wells couldn't get away from him, couldn't really do much. Easily 2-0. And then in round 3, Wells hurt Orolbai with a big shot. Orolbai shot in kind of sloppily, giving his neck up, and Wells locked up with a ninja choke. Yes, it was ninja choke. Orolbai went out pretty quickly, and that was that. Jeremiah Wells with a gigantic comeback and upset. Orolbai was minus 1,600 at one point on the live odds. I could only imagine what the fuck he was. And Jeremiah Wells gets the fucking win at home. What a win, what an upset, and yeah, crazy. What more can you really say there? No matter if you picked Orolbai or you picked Wells, no matter how big of a fan you are of either guy, or if you care about either guy, there's no way you cannot enjoy this. This was just cool. A cool comeback, a dude at home, 40 years old. That's just what MMA's all about, a sweet fucking comeback. Down to cool. What more can you say? It was just cool. A great start to the card, very, like, Rocky, Philly-ish, if you want to look at it that way. And, yeah, good start to the card, man. What more can you say? Philly gets a win to start the card, and we'll see how their other guy does later. And, just a really cool fight, so no more can really be said there. For Jeremiah Wells, he did pretty much retire, unless he gets like a top 15 fight or some shit, which I don't think he is, and why would you even give him that if he just wants to retire here? You can't think of a better retirement at home as I think the biggest underdog to win this year, to do what he did at 40 pretty much. You can't pick a better retirement, so good for Jeremiah there. Hope he doesn't fight again, because you're not going to get a better storybook ending than this, and you ain't going to beat anyone in the top 15, so just retire and enjoy it. So, pretty simple there, and hell of a way to end the career. What a fucking win for Jeremiah then, good for him. And for Miktabek, well, it's sad to fucking say, but yeah, he's a fraud. He's not as good as we thought, and that's a shame, because he's a great meme. And he's not a terrible fighter, but he did get exposed here, and that's about that for the oral buy hype. He'll stick around the UFC and definitely win some fights, but he just, yeah, it's not going to be a prospect or anything. Not going to be top 15. He feels like he could be, but not anymore, so it sucks. All meme fighters have to come back down to reality, it seems, and it sucks. He's one of them, so he'll probably bounce back, but now we kind of see a ceiling of just a very fine, unranked welterweight, and it just sucks to say he's not as good as we thought he was, and he got fraud checked here, so the Rombetsky fight was one of the best fights of that year. This, you really no excuse for it. He got fraud checked, so that's, again, this is, I don't even, again, why, this could be one of the biggest upsets of all time, depending on what the odds were at times in this fight, so it sucks, and that's that, so he's a fraud. He's still a great meme, but that only takes you so far, so there you go. And that is about that. All there really is to say there. Obviously, Jeremiah retired pretty much, so no fight idea, and unless he gets a top 15 fight, which he ain't getting. And who'd he fight anyway? Fucking Bilal or D-Rod maybe? Like, I just don't care to see him fight again. This is a perfect retirement, so cap it off here. Actually, I don't mind him and D-Rod, but no need to see that, so that's that. That's a career for Wells. Enjoy retirement. Great moment at home to end the career, and for Mekdebek, he gets fraud checked here. Sucks to see and say, but that's what happens, so there you go. Not very much more to say there. Huge upset to begin the card. 1% got this fight right, and great way to start the card. Philly gets a win. Giant upset. One of the biggest of the year. Kinda just feels right that it would be in Philly, so that's that. There you go, and great start to the card. Really great fight. One of the easily best highlights of the card. Good for him. Good for Wells. Enjoy retirement if you stick to it, and great way to start the card. Nah, I wish it was a tone setter for the rest of it. As we go to the second fight of the night, which already got back down to reality of being very whatever, not bad, but whatever. As we had our second fight of the night, staying at welterweight for a fight, definitely not as good. The Wells fight was the best fight on this card at welterweight, because everything else after it sucked. And then the second fight of the night, the only other okay fight at welterweight on the card, and another upset, even though why was this guy the underdog? We had Neil Magny versus Ramiz Brahimaj. Why was Neil Magny the underdog here? Feels like it was pretty obvious he was going to win this fight. Ramiz did take round 1 by just laying on Magny. Didn't do a bit of damage in the fight. Definitely should have been stood up. But, you know, it is what it is. There we go. Yeah, Ramiz took round 1, but again, he just laid on Magny. Didn't do a hair of damage, and it should have been stood up. But what can you do, I guess? Then Ramiz was gassed from all that not fighting. Magny took over, did what Neil Magny does, and he Neil Magny'd him. Broke him down, finished him, same thing he did to Mike Malott and many others. And got the TKO, and one of the weirdest TKOs you'll see in the clinch. Got the win. Cool. Good for Neil Magny, man. Yeah, again, why was he the underdog here? I don't really get that at all. I get Neil Magny's old and not the greatest anymore, but he's not losing to guys this low level. That's why I picked him. Like, he's not losing to shit fighters. His last losses are Amasov, Morales, and Prates. Now people think he's gonna lose to Ramiz Brahimaj after Magny just beat guys like Jake Matthews, and Zaleski dos Santos like a year ago. So it's like, I don't get it. I get people want to just fade Neil because he's fucking ancient, but this was a stupid fade. Ramirez is not that good, and he's not beating Neil Magny, so what else is there to really say there? So, yeah, I've looked at it as a very easy pick. Never thought Neil should have been the dog here because he's not losing to someone this low level yet. He's not on that point of his career yet. And, yeah, it's easy bounce back for Neil Magny to go from Yaroslav Amasov to Ramiz Brahimaj, so a little bit of a step down if you ask me. Talk about the fighters for Neil, and nothing really new can be said here. He's still going. He was fighting before we were here, and he's gonna be fighting long after we're gone. That man ain't ever gonna retire. He's gonna be winning and losing fights forever. So simple. I'm not saying he should retire. I don't know if he should. He can still go at a pretty decent fucking rate. And for Ramiz, he's just not good. We know this. Puna showed that, and now this fight showed that. Again, good for Ramiz having a little bit of a winning streak last year, but look who it was against, and now we see when he's fought higher level guys, he's been destroyed twice. So now he is on a hot seat for his next fight. We'll see if he can save his job next time out, and yeah, he is just not good. So simple. He was never gonna beat Neil Magny. So there you go. How do you gas yourself by not fighting? That's impressive. That being said, the only thing left to be said is, who should I fight next for Neil Mags? It's gonna be a prospect. I can take a guess. You got John Paul Luciani, you got Jonathan McCaleb. But the idea I like, and I brought this up like half a year ago at this point, why not Jacoby Smith? I think he's the prospect that would make the most sense to fight Neil right now. Unless they're hell-bent on having him fight Kevin Holland, which I don't even like that fight, to be honest. Jacoby and Neil, why not? And again, unless you want Neil to fight, Neil Magny either fights a prospect or a fellow old dude, and if the fellow old dude, who? RDA, or some bullshit. So, I'd be more fine with seeing Neil fight another prospect. Jacoby has my vote, but it could be Mikhailov, Ty Miller, JPL, Michael Oliveira for all we know, so we'll see which prospect it is. I'll say Jacoby, but time will tell, and that's Neil Magny for you. Gonna always fight the prospects. And for him is not much to say again. If you win or get cut next time out, so there you go. And that's about that. Neil Magny. Neil Magny's another guy. He ain't ever gonna retire, and until he is losing to guys of this level, I see no reason for Neil to retire. He still got it, he's still decent, and what more needs to be said, so never should have been the underdog here. Fine win and finish for Neil, and who should he fight next? Why not Jacoby Smith? Has to fight a prospect next. That one has my vote, but you got 10 other options he could fight, so we'll see who he fights, and UFC without Neil Magny would just feel wrong at this point, so let's never see it happen, because I don't know if it ever will. And then after that, we hit our featured early prelim, which I did shit on a good amount for being the featured early prelim. It actually turned out to be one of my favorite fights on the card. Still on paper, should have opened the card, not been above Neil Magny, but you know, this fight was pretty decent. Well, it was one-sided as fuck, but it's not bad. As we had in our featured early prelim at light heavyweight, a hell of a debut performance, and that, in my opinion, should have got a bonus. We had, and to end the early prelims, Lucas Fernando versus Rafael Tobias. Yeah, this was one hell of a one-sided ass beating, kind of like what I said of Contender Series last week. Sometimes you really struggle to call a fight, because it definitely didn't look like we had a fight here. For the first 2 rounds of this fight, Tobias just got his ass beat. Like, this was a one-sided masterclass by Fernando, schooling him for the first 2 rounds. Tobias literally had nothing for him. I think maybe I know Tobias landed a decent leg kick, maybe like one or two decent like jabs or some shit. But outside of that, Fernando just schooled him. Fernando looked like a fucking world top tier kickboxer in this fight. And eventually he just did a step and he kind of landed in Tobias's chest. Tobias couldn't take it anymore, went down, finally quit. And Fernando gets to finish in the third in a hell of a debut performance where he looked pretty damn good. So yeah, we always get a fight like this every month or so where it's just a one-sided striking masterclass, kind of like Ty Miller and Billy Ray Goff to an extent as well. And how can you not enjoy them? So I enjoyed it. I enjoy these type of fights, and that was about that. So just a one-sided kickboxing masterclass on one side, and the other side just looked fucking clueless. So pretty simple there. To talk about the winner here in Fernando, I don't know if I'm calling him a prospect yet, because A, he beat someone who's awful, and B, his losses are still awful, but kid looked damn good. I'm not going to call him a contender like Joe Rogan. I'm going to say the right term that I think Joe's trying to think of, prospect. And Fernando looked great. He looked really good. Again, I'm still not going to say the prospect like a Yakiayev, like a Bornevsky, but he looked good. Like, obviously, this is not the guy we saw in Contender Series a few years ago, but also he's not fighting someone as good as who he fought on Contender Series a few years ago, so it's one more performance like this, and yes, I'll 100% call Fernando a prospect, but until then, I just really struggle to do that, because A, again, you beat Rafael Tobias, and B, I still remember his losses, but Cuevas and Almeida are pretty bad losses. To erase something like that, you gotta do a little more than this, but this was a good start to doing that, so he looked good. In my opinion, he should have got a bonus here, and it kind of reminds me of Muhammad Saeed's debut from a few weeks ago, so I don't think he looked as good as Saeed, but Fernando looked good, and maybe this kid will be a prospect. I need to see a little bit more before giving him that title, because that title in this division puts him up around Iwo and Yakiayev and fucking Saeed, which I don't think he's of that level, but maybe he will be sooner than later, so time will tell, and he looked really good here. I'll give him that. Cannot lie one bit there. And for the opponent, Rafael Tobias, a guy who looks like a fighter and is one terrible fighter. What is there to say? This guy's awful. They have him the 39th light heavyweight of 42. You're pushing it to say there's that many guys worse than him. Again, Tobias looks like he should be a good fighter. He's fucking terrible. I don't know what he's good at, and he's looking like he's gonna be out to UFC really soon. So obviously he is on a very hot seat now after 2 losses, and one more and he's out of here. So he's terrible, and what is there to really say there? Not much more that can be said there. You have the look of a fighter with none of the talent, so, and that's Rafael Tobias. With that being said, not really much more to be said there outside of who should they fight next for Fernando. The fight was stupid when they tried to book it for Abu Dhabi, but you know, maybe now I don't hate it so much. Why not do him and Dustin Jacoby? It kind of makes sense now. Jacoby just got his ass beat by Saeed. Fernando looked really good here. Why not? I see no reason not to do it unless you get Fernando someone lower level, which after this, I guess anyone's a step up, but why not Jacoby? So, not really much more to say there when a division's so fucking shallow for fighters. Gotta fight somebody, so I think that makes sense, but time will tell. And again, for Tobias, he's in a win or get cut situation next time out, and it's probably gonna be a get cut, so won't be too shocked at that. And that's about that, so not very much more to say there. Very good debut for Fernando. Again, dude looked really good. Still not gonna call him a prospect or contender like Joe Rogan, but he's right on the verge of being there. He looked good. Very impressive performance. Flawless victory, and in my opinion, again, should have got a bonus. And, yeah. What more needs to be said here? So, great debut for Fernando. Kid looked really good, and, welcome to the UFC. Keep having performances like this, and you're gonna be a damn good signing, so not really much else to say there, and, pretty good fight. Well, pretty good one-sided ass beating. And that is that for the early prelims. All pretty good. I got really no complaints across the board. Pretty damn good. So after this, I really thought the card maybe will be good. Maybe the rest of this card can be really good. And then the prelims pissed on that idea 4 times. So yeah, let's get into the worst portion of the cards, shall we? Beginning with the prelim opener in the middleweight division. Well, all the good potential this card had went out the window real quick with this one. We had in the prelim opener at middleweight, Tresean Gore versus Vicente Luque. Well, minus the fact that this was a robbery, Luque clearly won the first and third, and minus the fact that this fight sucked either way, yeah, garbage. Simple. Tresean Gore's garbage. Luque got robbed and needs to retire if he's struggling against this bum. What needs to be said? Luque got robbed. He won the first and third. This fight was garbage. Next. What else do I need to say? So, at least he knocked the dumb fuck's teeth out. That was funny. Outside of that, yeah, garbage. Then we get to the best fight of the prelims, of the 4 here at least, but that's not saying a lot at all, as we have in our second fight of the prelims, staying at middleweight for the best fight of the prelims, but again, that's a low-ass bar, and really it was just a really okay knockout. We had in our second fight of the prelims, Dante Johnson versus Eric McConaughey. Yeah, again, being the best fight of these prelims ain't the highest accomplishment I've ever seen, so, you know, take that as you will. Yeah, Dante just hit a beautiful left hand, sent McConaughey out cold. Decent knockout, not great, but decent, and, I still say Johnson's probably terrible, but, you know, McConaughey didn't block the punches here and let himself get completely caught. Good job. So, I don't got much to say here. McConaughey in a fight that I still think is completely winnable for him. Just did not block punches and got knocked the fuck out. Dante has really good power, and that's about it. One more needs to be said. So, I still think Dante is a complete fraud in the making, and Eric McConaughey will probably get cut after his next loss. So, oh no, wait, he was coming off a win here, so, no, maybe not, right? Yeah, so, we'll see. Either way, yeah, good knockout, best fight of the prelims, but I still think Dante is a fraud and McConaughey's terrible. And I stick by the McConaughey pick. I still say he could win this fight, so that's that. And, yeah, I don't care who they fight next at all. Then we get to the co-main event of the prelims, a can battle for the ages. No shocker here. Actually, this fight was not the worst, but just the ending was pretty bad. We had in our third fight of the prelims, our co-main of the prelims, and just a can battle at flyweight. We had Charles Johnson versus Eduardo Chapolin. Yeah, good job, Chapolin. Yeah, fuck with you gassed after. How do you gas at flyweight? Chapolin was winning this fight. Truly, he was really dominating this fight. He took round 1, but Jason Herzog's a dumbass who took a point for no reason. He knocked him down and almost finished the energy in round 2. So Johnson needed it. Well, actually, no, with the point deduction, he could have won for the tie, but instead he did get the finish he needed late against a gassed Chapolin. And he did that inverted twister that Murtazali Magomedov landed a few months ago. Murtazali did it better. And yeah, Energy wins in a shit fight. Hey, at least he finally got a win in 2026. Only took 4 attempts. Now with a 1-3 record. Good job. And yeah, not much to say here. Shitty Jason Herzog reffing aside. Chapolin choked the win here. He was up 2, and he gassed like the can that he is. Maybe he should have brought his toy hammer in there. Yeah, he sucks. I don't know what to tell you. People wanted this dude signed. Him, Richie Miranda. People gotta stop wanting people signed because they picked the shittiest fighters to hype up. And the dude sucked a year ago when I saw him, and he sucks again now. What is there to say? Inner garbage is still just that. And that's about that. So, not really much more to say there. And, yeah, cans. Simple. So now Energy is 1-3 in 2026, and Chapolin is the same can he was a year ago. I'm not shocked. Is there still no reason they could have not gave Bilal Hassan this fight? He would have won this fight and still fought in Shanghai, but whatever. Don't care who they fight. Shitty fight. The wrong Johnson got a bonus here. And that's about that. And then we hit the featured prelim, and maybe the most disappointing fight of the night, and that takes in a lot of ground in what I would say is the worst fight of the night, and that also takes in a lot of ground. We had in our featured prelim in the welterweight division a very lackluster bad fight where only one guy really fought. And we had in our featured prelim Chidi and Joko Wani versus Joel Alvarez. The simplest way to explain this fight is for 15 minutes Joel Alvarez did nothing. He let Chidi and Joko Wani piece him up and win. I forgot to score round 3, but yeah, 30-27 in Joko Wani. Alvarez just walked forward and let Joko Wani school him for 15 minutes instead of fighting back and going for the finish. He just let Chidi beat him. I don't understand it. One of the most confusing performances I've ever seen, let alone by someone with the talent, and he shit the bed. So again, for 15 minutes, Joel Alvarez was flat-footed and just walked forward and got picked apart by someone as shitty as Chidi and Joko Wani. That says about all you needed to say, so there you go. Yeah, not really much to say here. For Joko Wani, he saves his UFC career for a while longer. He's still terrible, but fuck, I can't say anything bad about him, because when the other guy he's fighting lets him win, was he not meant to take it? So, good for him. And for Alvarez, just another guy like an Ignacio Bahamondes who is just a complete head scratcher of why he isn't better when he's shown the ability to be better. And he just shit the bed here. He looked terrible. And now I never thought I would see Joel Alvarez on the hot seat, but 2 losses now. The Mosov one's understandable. What happened here? So, a guy has all the talent, but is his prime over? Did he waste his prime trying to make fucking lightweight? It seems like it. It's a shame, but that just seems like the case. This guy just wasted his prime trying to fight in a weight class he could barely make, if he even could. So, what needs to be said? Just a disappointment. Again, it reminds me a lot of an Ignacio Bahamondes in that regard, of just disappointing with the talent this guy does have. So, or had. So, that's that. That being said, really nothing else to be said there. Don't care who Chitty fights. This fight was the worst one on the card, and just terrible. Alvaro, again, good for Chitty, man. When the guy you're fighting just lets you beat him, you can't complain. So, Chitty saved his career. Alvarez's looks like it's on the fucking downswing, and he might be in PFL before we know it. And not really much else to say there. Just crazy to see guy with the amount of talent that he did have. Yeah, at least he did show at one point. Just perform like he did here. Disappointing and just bad. And to the prelims. And that was that for the prelims. Ending the prelims with the worst fight on the card in execution. Not a great ending, but, you know, is what it is. Long story short, early prelims were really good. Main prelims were pretty dog shit. This was an okay knockout. Garbage, and robbery garbage. So, simple. What more can really be said there? And, yeah, not good. No shocker. And did it at least lead into a good main card? Fuck no. So, let's jump right into that, shall we? As we begin it with one of the most predictable wastes of time you'll ever see. That being the main card opener in the lightweight division. We had to open UFC 330's main card. Imagine if the UFC asked for $80 for this garbage. We had Esteban Ribovics versus Edson Barboza. I'm so shocked the much younger Ribovics beat easily and retired Edson Barboza. Shocker. Yeah, this was a lot like the Barboza-Turner fight. Edson just can't take damage anymore, ran away until he finally got finished. He survived round 1 at least, but he looked terrible, got cut on his eye, on his shin, etc. And then in round 2, Ribovics just started beating on him. He was hurt pretty badly, but he was not going down. But the rare time I'll actually give Herb Dean props, he did make a good stoppage here. He saw enough, stopped the fight, it's over, and Ribovics wins. Herb saves Edson from himself, and yeah, really no issues with that stoppage, and just a complete waste of time of a fight. So pretty simple. Yeah, what am I meant to say here? We knew this was the outcome, and it happened. Shocker. Happy Edson did retire. We'll start with talking about that, and he deserves the profile clicked on. I'm happy he did retire, and he ain't gonna keep trying to fight. Time is time. He's 40 and just does not have it anymore. So enjoy retirement, Edson. I'm happy he called it quits at the right time, and yeah, so what more can you really say there? Legend, in my opinion, still maybe the best fighter to never fight for the belt when you really think about it, and great career. Man, we lost him and Darren Elkins in a span of a week. Crazy. So many great wins and highlight threads, and obviously the fucking, the Terry Adam knockout, iconic, and, what more needs to be said? A legend. Thank you, Edson Barboza, and, that's that. So, happy you made the right call here and retired. Great career, no need to take more damage. And for Esteban Rabovic, he gets back on track and retires a legend. Cool, I guess. Good for him. I did see someone say this is a lose-lose for Esteban, because if he wins, it's good job. You beat a 40-year-old, and if he loses, then Jesus, well, how bad would that have looked? So I don't disagree there, but the UFC doesn't care. They just wanted to get him back on track, and they did. And again, good for him getting to retire a legend. So not many get to do that, and he did that. So simple there. And yeah, good for him. He's still not a prospect in this division. He's just a really fun fighter, and he did his thing here. So simple. But you know, he is a very overrated finisher. We can start having those conversations whenever, but yeah, he is a bit of an overrated finisher, but it's what it is, I guess. That being said, only thing left to reset is who should they fight next? For Rabovic, I think a fight that kind of is long overdue to happen and would be a good one. Why not him and Chris Duncan? Makes sense. Rabovic coming off a win, Duncan coming off a loss, both probably in about the same area. It'd be a fun fight. It would probably be an easy win for Rabovic because Duncan's terrible. I'd like to see it. So simple. And yeah, not really much more to say there. Happy Edson retired. So thank you, Edson Barboza. And yeah, predictable fight. Well, it's predictable. Again, it was a complete waste of time. Don't really get why we had to do this, but it's over. It's done. And thank you, Edson Barboza. What more needs to be said there? As we go from that to our second fight of the main card, a fight I fucking told y'all could go this way, and guess what? It went this way. We had in our second fight of the main card in the middleweight division, still maybe the worst fight I've ever seen, just talent-wise, on a main card, but what can you really do, because it was actually a pretty decent fight and a very good performance. We had in our second fight of the main card the I told you all so moment of the week. We had Dustin Stoltzfus versus Mansour Abdul Malik. I fucking told y'all Stoltzfus could win this fight. I knew McConaughey or Stoltzfus were gonna win at least one of them, and it was Dustin Stoltzfus. And this was not like a fluky thing. Stoltzfus won this fight. He was the better fighter. He won round one. He took Mansour down and did some really good work in round one to win that round. And then in round two, a lot of the same. He just kept going after Mansour, putting a good pace on him, and eventually just broke him. Ground and pound, led into a rear naked choke, and Mansour tapped. Dustin Stoltzfus wins. And that's about that. What more needs to be said? I actually want to talk about Mansour first here, because I fucking told you all, this guy's garbage. And every time a fight gets difficult, he just fucking crumbles. He's terrible. He's honestly fucking terrible. And yeah, fuck, you could cut him right now, no one would care. He is just shit. That simple. A failed passion project, I guess, by the UFC to try and build another prospect, and he just flopped. Like, I know they've had a lot of those at middleweight, but he's worse than fucking Shara and a lot of guys they've tried to push in this division. He's just terrible. So the writing was on the wall with him, with that Nick Klein fight where he looked bad, with that fucking Cody Brundage fight where he looked terrible. The dude is fucking terrible, and I don't know how anyone could be shocked by the outcome here. Like, he never should have been minus 700. Like, at all. As he gets embarrassed on the biggest stage, because he's terrible. And I told y'all, and I hate to say that when I didn't pick the underdog here, but I fucking said all week, this is not a layup. Mansour could lose this fight, and he did. He did. He's just a complete failed prospect, and what more needs to be said? So that's about that. And for Dustin Stoltz, it was good for him, man. At home, big underdog, probably job on the line here. Just, he looked at this, the best Dustin Stoltz's performance I've ever seen. Most, like, he actually looked like he knew how to fight for a minute here. And good for him. What can I say? He looked good. Striking looked fine. Grappling looked good. He destroyed Mansoor here, and for his biggest fight on the biggest stage at home, he showed out, got a bonus in the process, which he deserved, and good for him, man. What more can you really say? Good for him. So, that's about that. So, simple. He wasn't the cannon fodder. The sacrificial lamb won. You'd love to see it. With that being said, the only thing left to be said here is, who should they fight next? For Stoltzfus, I'm down to see him fight Marco Tulio. I mean, that'd be another failed prospect. Yeah, I'd be down to see that. I think it would make some sense. Like, there's a lot of other options. You could have Stoltzfus go in there and fight, but I think Tulio makes most sense. It's a step up to an extent. It's a winnable fight. I would pick Stoltzfus to win that fight, and it makes sense. So look at, see no reason not to, and yeah, simple. So not really much else to say there. Again, I fucking told you Mansoor's garbage and could lose. I knew him or Johnson were going to on this card, and it was Mansoor, and he's terrible. Good win for Stoltzfus, good moment, great performance. What more can you say? Last good fight on the card, and Philly goes 2-0 with their fighters, Stoltzfus and Wells, and what more needs to be said here? So, good win for Stoltzfus, great moment, great fight, underdog, upset, etc. And again, I told y'all, Mansoor is just garbage. I'm not shocked at all if he lost this fight, and I told y'all to not be if he does. So, there you go. And then we had our featured fight of the main card. Not gonna waste much time here, because I don't want to. We had in the featured fight of the main card at lightweight, the quickest fight of the night at least, because then we had two 25-minute fights to watch after it. Oh boy, we had Jalen Turner versus Cowie Fernandez. Well, Cowie Fernandez is garbage, we know that now, and I still say Jalen Turner is a weak-minded bitch, so pretty simple there. Don't think I'm gonna shock anyone with that one. Simple. That's all I gotta say here. Cowie's garbage. Jalen's still a weak-minded bitch who's going to get exposed when he fights someone legitimate again. And that's about that. So simple. There you go. Fine finish. Quick fight. Never upset with that, but what else really needs to be said there? So garbage. And then we get to the co-main event of the evening for the very disputed UFC Strawweight Championship of the world. We had in the co-main, and actually the best title fight on this card, which that says a lot when this fight was not great. We had that strawweight for the paper belt, Mackenzie Dern versus Julian Robertson. Yeah, Canada might never win a belt again. What the fuck was this performance from Joe Robb? For 4 rounds, Dern just dominated her. 10-8 round 1, beat her round 2 through 4 as well. Robertson needed a finish. She did look good in round 5. Got the round, looked decent, but pretty easy 49-45 score here. How one judge gave 2 rounds to Robertson, I'll never fucking know. And yeah, pretty easy 49-45 and still here. And yeah, just one-sided. Embarrassing performance from the challenger. And again, Canada might never win a bout at this point unless Jasmine falls into it. Yeah, they're never sniffing gold again, so this was probably their best chance, and not great. Yeah, again, not really much I can say about. I'll talk about Robertson first here. What is there to really say? She looked outclassed and lost. She looks like she never trained striking a day in her life, and she just looked fucking lost out there from minute 1 to minute 20, and then she turned into a good fighter, but too late. And she never jumped the guillotine on those takedowns. I don't know why. She looks like she never touched a pad in her life of striking, and she just looked terrible. She looked lost out there, and yeah, Canada's never getting a belt. That's pretty simple. So just pathetic performance by Robertson, and then again, where was the round 5 Robertson the whole fight? Made Dean Thomas quit coaching. Just awful. What more needs to be said there, unless Jasmine Jasvicius can fall ass backwards into the belt? Yeah, Canada's never sniffing gold again in this sport. And then for the paper champ, Mackenzie the ass Dern. She was better here. She looked fine, strong. She was stronger. She dominated early and just kept the fight where she wanted until she really gassed late. And she keeps the fake belt until Whaley wanted. So this fight really made me think, how would Dern do at flyweight? Because she's pretty fucking big. Man filled out, but she's the strawweight champ. And quote, and until Whaley or Fatima Klein win that belt. So that's about that. Still say she's a model, not a fighter, but there you go. She made the Venom gear look really good. And yeah, her ass should get a performance bonus, and she's gonna get it. Joanna Robertson literally elbowed her in the ass. Again, truly maybe the most pointless strike I've seen since people were hitting Roy Nelson in the body. So take that as you will. Yeah, what else needs to be said here? Obviously, Dern's gonna fight Whaley next, unless Whaley's just done fighting, then I guess Dern and Suarez, because Fatima ain't ready for the shot yet, and there's no one else, so I guess Dern and Suarez, which, God, that fight might be even worse. Man, Whaley, please come back. Whaley had to be laughing this entire fight, because she would beat both these two in the same hour, and that's the clear fight to make next. Dern and Whaley. Yeah, the UFC probably would view that as a big fight at this point, so we'll see if they do that. If not, well, if Whaley doesn't come back, then I guess Dern and Tatiana, which again, that fight is just sounds as dreadful as possible. And Whaley, please come back and take your belt back, because she would put Dern in a box within 2 rounds, so not really much to say there. First female title fight of the year also, which is bullshit that we're in August saying that. And now can we get Valentina and Natalia Silva booked? Kayla Nunez? It would be nice. So I actually do think we'll get Valentina and Natalia at 332, but time will tell. And yeah, not a great fight. Better than the main event, but that's not saying a lot. And that's about that. So Canada's never winning a belt. Mackenzie is still a model, not a fighter. And Whaley, come save this division. Just kick the shit out of that fat ass, please. That's all we're asking. So, or Fatima Klein, either one of you, someone just take that belt, please. And then all roads led to the main event of the evening, which was as terrible as expected. No shocker there, as we had in the main event of the evening for the undisputed UFC welterweight championship of the world. We had probably the most predictable title fight of the decade, and it was a dog shit fight, as we had Islam Makhachev versus Ian Machado Gary. Yeah, this fight doesn't get all the bells and whistles of the main event of UFC. This fight was garbage. What more needs to be said? The Dern fight was truly better. Not even for joking reasons, that fight was better. I think more significant strikes were landed in that fight. Yeah, what needs to be said here? For the first 2 rounds, Islam hugged him to death, did drop him with a head kick in round 2, and just dominated round 3, and Gary had his best round of the fight, taking it, and then round 4 and 5, Islam dominated, clear 49-46 across the board. Yeah, what more needs to be said there? So, I've seen a few stupid people say, even Gary won this fight. No he didn't. He won a round, and that's being generous. He won a round. Islam clearly took off. So, 49-46, clear scorecard. What more needs to be said there, so there you go. Yeah, the fight was terrible. It was an Islam Makhachev fight. Garbage. And yeah, needs to be said. Islam looked like he was starting to be washed here. This fight might be the one that starts showing that Islam don't got it anymore. This Islam fighting Morales or Prates, good luck, because he looked terrible here. He didn't outside of the head kick, he gave Ian Gary no damage, and Islam looked terrible. Truly, his face got fucked up, and he just looked awful. In the simplest way to put it, no matter if you're a big Islam fan or not, you can be honest, he looked terrible. He won easily, but he looked fucking terrible. And this is the worst we've seen him look since, the Volk fight, in which he lost the first one. So, I think if he was smart, he probably should retire here, but if he wants to go in there with Prates or Morales, that's your funeral, buddy. So, what more can I say here? He looked terrible. This guy you pretend is a GOAT and the pound for pound best, get fucking real. And then for Cockboy, I got nothing to say. He's fucking garbage. Next. Simple, fuck him. He's dog shit. Simple. Not really much else to say there. Yeah. That's about that. Fights up. Shocker. Who should they fight next? Do I even need to explain this one? Michael Morales. Michael fucking Morales, give him his title shot. He's earned it. He should have fought here. And give him his title shot. I love Carlos Prates, but he is not next in line. He's not deserving of it. He lost to this guy. Morales deserves the shot. Come on now. And for Ian Gary, probably JDM. Won't be shocked at that at all. And as much as I hate him, I would pick Ian Gary to win that fight easily. So, pretty simple. Will they screw over Morales? Probably. I think more than likely Prates will get the title shot in February or March, and it's fucking bullshit, but whatever. It should be Morales either way. If Morales is smart, he just waits around for his shot either way. I won't be shocked to try and have him fight Ian, which is just bullshit. And, yeah, should be Islam and Morales next. Ian can go fight JDM and probably win, to be honest. And, not really much else to say there. Dog shit fight. Islam looked awful. Me and Gary looked like Ian Gary. The same can he will always be. And, yeah. He did not get to wrap that belt around his whore wife, so thank God, hallelujah, something good happened in the sport. Islam did one good thing for the sport, and, he's still just Khabib from Wish. He's still as boring as possible. He looked terrible, and he looks washed, so we'll see. Maybe this was a bad night. Good luck against Morales and Prates, and, yeah. Let's see him fight Morales next. Ian can fight JDM. See what happens. And I'm not even saying that Islam loses to Morales or Prates for sure. But if he looks like this again, he probably does. So, we'll see what happens. And, that's that. Fight sucked. Second worst fight in the card. Normal Islam fight though. And, yeah, the cuck lost. The goat fucker won. And it was dog shit, so the Dern fight was better, and no shocker, this fight sucked, because it's an Islam fight. It's gonna be boring, like always. And I am 22-5 on locks now, so good job, Islam, at least you did something right. And with that being said, boom, that was the recap to go over how I did on picks. Well, I did awful picks for an awful card, 5 of 12. Because Luque got robbed, got a lot wrong. Again, awful picks for an awful card. I'm not too upset about it. So, that's what it is. The bonuses for the card went to Turner, Stoltzfus, Charles Johnson, and Jeremiah Wells. Agree. I guess. And then, no, this is bullshit. This should be Dante Johnson, or even Lucas Fernando would be better to see get the bonus here, so I think that was some bullshit, but did Mertazali no, yeah, Mertazali did get a bonus for doing the same submission, so yeah, at least they're consistent. If you missed a card, which I say you should go back and rewatch, I would say the early prelims, because they're pretty good. You know, the Dante Johnson knockout, I guess. And then, if you want to watch this, but it wasn't great, this for sure. After the Stoltzfus fight, I wouldn't watch anything else, to be honest, so. Unless you want to see some Duran ass, or a normal, terrible Islam Makhachev fight, or Jalen Turner, yeah, I would stop at the Stoltzfus fight, so. And that's about that. Second to last, and most importantly of all, the chopping block. Yeah, sadly no chops this week. And then it's a sad day. If this card didn't suck enough, there's no goddamn chopping block for it. Yeah, Chidi and Njokuani won. He was one of the biggest names on it. Or really the only name on it. Edson retired. Besides that, who else are you gonna cut? No. He retired. Actually, you really should, but you won't. And then no, and you know they should, but yeah, they won't. So no chopping block. You know this card sucks. God damn it, when there's no chopping block. And finally, and most importantly of all, what would I rate this card? What would I rate this card? I'm gonna say a 4.6. It was terrible. There was a few good moments on it, but overall it was terrible. Is it the worst card of the year? No, it's better than 326 at least. But yeah, it was just dreadful. Like, a few good moments. The early prelims were great. The prelims had a good moment. The main card had a good moment, really. But the title fights were not good. A lot of the card was not good. And it was just what it was. It looked bad on paper. It really didn't get better in execution. And that sounds like a 4.6 out of 10 to me, so what more can I really say there? And, yeah, not great at all. So, no shocker there. As we thankfully leave this card behind and look to the future, which is UFC Sacramento next week, RoboCop and Fluffy. So that'll be cool, at least that card's not terrible, better than this one on paper, and hopefully we can just forget about this card and enjoy a good trip to Sacramento. Plus we got some road contender series and tough, so let's just forget this card happened and move on. A few good things happened on it worth remembering. The rest of it was not good. Philly, I'm sorry. And yeah, at least your fighters won, but this card was dog shit. And what else needs to be said there? So there you go. And that's about that. So not very much more to say there. I don't care to talk about this card anymore, but you know, it is what it is. Move on, live and learn. And at least UFC 333 looks much better. 331's a fight night. Pay-per-views are hit or miss in 2026, and this was a miss, so that's that. Philly might not want him back for another 8 years or whatever. And that being said, the only thing left to be said is, as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. As always, unless I'm going to say something which I don't believe I am. Trying to think, is there anything else to say? Not really, so. As always, RX out. Good vibes. Only